25 years from now, they're doing a story on my friend's friend. Like, what do you want the headline to be?
They still don't own Stanley Cups.
Welcome to Everybody Pulls the Tarp, the go-to podcast for high performers. I'm Andrew Moses, and each week I talk with Olympians, pro athletes, TV stars, Grammy winners, best-selling authors, CEOs, and other high performers to uncover their success secrets. Every conversation is jam-packed with inspiration and actionable ideas we all can apply to our own lives, personally and professionally. Get ready for a behind-the-scenes look at the techniques, processes, and mindsets powering the world's most successful people. Let's go. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Everybody Pulls the Tarp. This week, I'm joined by Christin O'Connor and Jill Williams. Christin and Jill are the co-creators of My Friend's Friend, which has become one of my favorite corners of the internet and social media. Christin and Jill are former corporate buying executives turned influencers and content creators. And together, they are totally reimagining the influencer business. A few years ago, they launched My Friend's Friend, an Instagram account and online community to help make purchasing decisions, gift giving, and life in general easier for others. Christin and Jill crowdsource recommendations from like-minded followers and share the ideas with their fast-growing and highly engaged online community. As Christin and Jill put it, at My Friend's Friend, everybody is an influencer. In the conversation you're about to hear, Christin and Jill share a raw, behind-the-scenes look at a journey that's taken them from an idea and a logo on a napkin all the way to the Today Show. But this episode is about so much more than building an influencer business or sharing gift guides. Our conversation is filled with actionable ideas on how to set intentions, define success on your terms, and overcome the analysis paralysis phase that holds so many of us back. This is a really powerful conversation filled with ideas that we all can apply to so many different aspects of our lives. I'm going to be thinking about my conversation with Christin and Jill for a long time to come. And I hope you take away as much from this one as I have. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. So, let's pull the tarp and get straight to My Friend's Friend, Christin O'Connor and Jill Williams. You guys were coworkers at one point, working as corporate buying executives, and then you pivoted to launch My Friend's Friend when you lost your jobs because of the pandemic. So I am curious, how long was this idea rattling around your minds? How did it come together? And how did you get it all started?
Yeah. So we had both been working for Lord & Taylor. Christin left when they closed during the pandemic. I had left probably like a year before to try something different. And then we both found ourselves unemployed, new moms, staying inside in the middle of a global pandemic.
But let's not kid ourselves. From the moment we met at Lord & Taylor, we had been trying to think of ideas and ways to get ourselves out of Lord & Taylor together.
You had an invention list.
Yes. Very good.
Exactly.
We had an invention list.
We still have an invention list.
I say that we still have an invention list. But we had an invention list we shared a cubicle. We sat back to back for years. Work was it was so much fun. So when we say like we wanted to get out of there, it was very corporate. There was a lot of process and procedure. And we were just kind of like, it would be so much faster if we could just do it our way or do it this way. So we had a great group of girlfriends there. They actually ended up, this is a good story. Our group of girlfriends at Lord & Taylor, we became so close. We ate lunch together every day. Like we were.
When that was a thing.
When people still took lunches. It was so much fun. The HR ended up separating all of us into different departments because we just almost were having too much fun. We were getting a lot of work done, but it was just a great time. And that is really when our fast friendship formed. Christin was there when I met, at work when I met my husband. We were drafting text to him about responding to dates. So we have this late in life history that like on social media, they talk about it all the time, how special your adult friendships are. And it's true. So I'm really glad that like we have that history together. But back to your original question, we got this idea. I actually remember exactly where I was. I had just moved into a new house. We were both living in Hoboken. I had moved to the suburbs. Christin and I were catching up, and we were just talking about how like overwhelming all of these purchases are to make as a mom. Like you need a stroller. You've never needed a stroller before. What do you look for? You Google search strollers, 1 million options come up. So what do? You text your girlfriend and you're like, what stroller do you have? And
Jill's son was a year older than mine. So she was like already in the thick of it. And I had just had a baby and was like, I know that I can trust your recommendations and your research skills are just like mine. So like, what did you get? And just tell me, and I will buy it.
And I will just get that one too. So we kind of like started talking and being like, oh, like, can we just take our group chats and put them on the internet? Like, I don't know if this influencer is being paid. I don't need a picture perfect reel to show me like a stroller. Like, were you being paid to do that? Were you gifted that? Do you actually like that? So we were like, how can we do this and monetize it? On the other side, we were home with babies in the very early days of the pandemic when it was stressful, isolating. So we were just craving like using our brains for something else other than parenthood.
So then from the moment that you guys had this idea, this phase of the idea, how long did it take till you felt like you had a business built around it? Like what was the first step and the second step? Like take me from the idea that, and the moment you said, we're going to do this, we've got something like actually starting to roll.
It was like 2.5 weeks. You know, there isn't some big business plan behind MFF, which is actually happens to be part of our success. So we kind of were like, we just have to start. We don't really know anything about operating a business on Instagram. We don't know anything about affiliate linking at this point. We don't have TikTok. So we were like, let's just sign up for Instagram. My friend's friend, the name came very naturally because it was like, yeah, I trust what my friend's friend is saying or my friends are saying. We were like, oh my gosh, like how many times a week do we say that? Like, oh yeah, my friend's friend told me about that. Or my friend's friend uses this. So that came very natural. And we had the conversation in the middle of October. And then the beginning of November, we sat at this table with our babies in the bouncers and posted our first gift guide. Yeah. Which I can't even look at now.
Jill drew our logo on a napkin.
So one of my favorite ideas in terms of like personal and professional growth is this, and it comes from a friend of mine, Alan Stein Jr., who is a high performance coach to some of the world's best athletes and business leaders. He says kind of what you just said there, that you should look at something that you did 2 years ago and be proud of it because you put it out into the world, but cringe at it because your growth since then has been so remarkable. And I could see,
boy, do we cringe.
I could see some of that in there. So, okay, first, let's make sure everybody understands why you're different from all the other air quote influencer businesses on the internet, on social media. And the part of it that I enjoy the most is the way my friend's friend works differently than the way seemingly all the other influencers do it. So let's just baseline. How does it work? Because that's been pretty much tried and true for you since the beginning, since you pressed that button the first time with the gift guide.
Yep. So we are the only content creators that are completely run on follower recommendations. Like that is the forefront of what we do. Other accounts, I think a lot of these pages, it's personal. We're trying to create this community, this group chat vibe where it's not just like, hey, I bought this at Target. It's like, what did you get? We say all the time, we're not telling you what the best stroller, hair dryer, gift for your husband is. You're actually telling us. So believe me, we have our opinions and we share them and they do well. Like a lot of times people just want to be told what to buy, but we are different because everybody's an influencer when you follow us.
And specifically like what you guys, so like people will send in requests. They'll say, hey, Jill and Christin, we want to know your favorite hairdryer. And then you put out a question essentially out to all your followers and the followers in many cases will send in hundreds of recommendations. And then you sift through those and tell everybody what you were able to understand by essentially talking to all your friends and your friends and your friends' friends.
Yes. So that's really where it started. And that was sort of like what we were doing day in and day out is asking people, what do you need recommendations on? And we'd put out 4 or 5 questions a day of like, okay, what's your favorite hairdryer? What's your favorite stroller? What's your, all of these things. And we've sort of evolved a little bit from that. We still do that. That's still a part of what we do.
Yeah.
But we sort of do it in a different way with our gift guides. And the gift guides have really been the crux of what this account has become.
Yeah, we kind of started, to your point, like we take questions in our DM, post question boxes to our story, people reply, and then we share the top recommendations. We monetize that by, when we can, using affiliate links for those recommendations. But again, it's not us telling you what the best luggage is. Someone asked us, we have our opinion, which will say, we love this one, but then we will put the question out to our followers and kind of go from there. But something interesting that Christin kind of touched on is our original intention was, we're not going to show our faces. We're just going to put out these questions and
let the friends
answer, run it like that. But what we found was that people really want to get to know you. Like they want that connection.
They want to relate to you.
They want to see you, to hear you talk, how you talk, and be like, you know what? I'm like them. I relate to them. I do trust the information that they're putting out. So when we talk about evolving, like that's kind of how it's evolved. So while this concept of everyone's an influencer is still the core of us, we found that we're not asking those questions as frequently or in the way we were when we started.
Right.
It's so true, because I'm obviously not your target demographic. I'm a dad and I'm a husband to a mom, but I absolutely love what you guys do and the way you do it. Like there's so much personality. There's so much energy in what you do. I mean, like some of the real, we've talked about this, like some of the reels are just off the charts. And for listeners, like you've got to go to this page, you've got to follow it, and you've got to start with some of these reels. Like, okay,
let's ridiculous ones that do the best.
Do you know what our number one reel is? And I still have the text message where I texted Christin and I was like, should I post this? It's so dumb. It's not related to our life content at all, but we got over 20 million views on a video of my son holding a French fry out of the window. But I had texted it to my girlfriend and I was like, look at this innovator I'm raising. He wanted to cool his fries off faster, so he asked me to roll down the window. And we thought it was funny. So I was like, I'm going to post that. Like everyone's going to think it's dumb. And literally 20 million views later, you're like, oh.
That's what gets engagement on social media.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'll tick off some of my favorites. So my favorite is the, I think it was you, Jill. You're in front of you're basically presenting to be a teacher during the pandemic. And
we call it the Fat Joe reel.
Yeah.
You're pretending to be a teacher in the pandemic who's like very calm and telling one of the students to turn themselves off of mute, turn on your microphone. This is how you do it. You're like so calm. You're like, you're dressed like all professional. And then you like shift to like, I guess it's months or a year later, and you are like, turn the fucking mic on. I mean, it is, and you've got tequila sitting next to you. I mean, it is just, and that one's gotten millions of views. I may have shared it with 500,000 people too. I mean, the amount of time I've said it to and then I love the one, you've got one in I think you're in a grocery store or a Target or something. And you basically say, this is kind of like what you expect to look like when you run into your ex.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, you're all like, you've got the makeup on, the hair is done, everything's all situated. And then it's like what you really look like when you run into your ex. You got this mask on and it's like fogging up your glasses.
Yeah.
And
based on a true story.
Yeah, based on a true story.
Based on a true story. And all the great content is based on a true story.
Yeah.
And then you've got I could relate because I've probably been this husband who sits in the car on a road trip and says like, this is like all going so smoothly. It's like amazing that we're so fortunate that this road trip is going so smoothly. And then you basically like dunk on your husband who underestimated all the work that you put into planning the trip. I mean, I'm telling everybody, I know we kind of veered off course here, but I think these reels it's not the reels, it's not the views. To me, it's what you've done in terms of like building relatability and community and like a bridge with people. And I think we'll talk about this more, but I don't think you're just giving recommendations and gift guides. Like you're giving people connection, community, happiness, and making lives a little easier so they can do more, they can have more time to spend with the people they love, doing the things that they love.
Yeah. I think too, it's important for us to like, social media can be a very overwhelming place if you allow it. And you have to be very sure of yourself to not allow it, right? So like for us, like, and look, we live in beautiful towns, we have beautiful homes, but I have like a kitchen that's from like 1950. I still make really good recipes. My girlfriend still asks me, what's that dip you made? You don't need a brand new beige house to be good at things or to influence people or to have good ideas. My toy closet, like I posted a picture of it. It's like the opposite of everything I represent as a human, but I can still share my favorite organizer container that I have in my linen closet. Like you don't need to portray this picture. It's not realistic. So I think it's just important. Like we shared something on our stories last year at Christmas because we were both bugging out. People started like, mantle garland at the holidays. Yeah. People started posting like all of the garland you need for your mantle. And now we're zip tying like 4 garlands together.
Like, put the berries in.
And I was like, oh my God, like my Christmas decorations are like,
I have one piece of garland.
And my stuff. And that's good enough. And so like we put out this story that we were like, hey, everyone, Christin did a really good reel about it. But like, hey, everybody, like when you scroll social media, like pretend you're looking at a Pottery Barn catalog. For a lot of people and specifically women, this is their income. This is their job, for some full time. So if someone came to your workspace without childcare, without training, without video editing skills, without all of those things, they would feel inadequate too. So like when you look at a page, like you have to keep that in mind that like someone's doing this like they want you to feel it's aspirational, but it's not required. If you went through a Pottery Barn catalog,
like you wouldn't be filled with rage.
You wouldn't be filled with rage. Like, how dare these photographers place the blanket like that? Like, that's so unrealistic. My kids would take it off in a second. Like, you wouldn't want to buy it. You wouldn't want to buy my couch if you saw it right now.
But because you're looking at social media and you're looking at someone's life, it fills you with rage and frustration and feelings of inadequacy because you start this comparison game. Is that,
right.
I mean,
correct. And we're saying, don't let it. We're trying to present life. There's a fine line. We're trying to present things realistically, but people also have to be really honest with themselves. Like we were just talking about the recipe, right? You wouldn't want to make the recipe if I just took a picture of it after I serve my kids and I. I'm not spending the time to plate it nicely. I don't have all matching plates sometimes at dinner. The lighting isn't always great in my kitchen. I could tell you it's delicious, but it would not inspire you to want to make it.
Jill and I make tons of recipes and we're like, how can we not make this look like dog food? Like there's no way to make this nicer. And we're just going to put it out because
I would text my girlfriends it and they'd be like, oh, Jill said it's good. Christin said it's good. So their kids ate it. I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is? Well, let's kind of look at this both ways. So like for the two of you, for like anybody listening out there, whether or not they want to create an online business or whether or not they're thinking about taking some type of risk or even a small risk, like, they're debating whether they want to like give a toast at a friend's wedding or some party, right? How do you two get more comfortable being comfortable in your own skin, like with that authenticity? Is it something that kind of always been somewhat natural for both of you? Is it something that you've had to cultivate over time? Like, talk about that for a moment. Christin, do you want to take that one first?
Yeah. I think for me, it was a lot harder for me to feel comfortable. Like Jill from the get-go was like, I'm in, let's do this reel, let's do this. And I was just like, I don't know how I feel about like putting myself out there in that way. Like I love the behind the scenes stuff. I love putting the gift guides together. I love compiling everybody's answers. But like, I didn't love putting myself out there. And when, like Jill said, when we started, we were like, we're not going to put ourselves out there. We'll just let the friends do their thing. And very quickly did we realize that wasn't
the people wanted us.
People wanted us. And, you know, I still think there's that level of me being uncomfortable doing a lot of these funnier reels because I think that Jill's hilarious. So like, I just let her do what she wants to do. And, you know, we'll run ideas off of each other. And I'm like, no, you film that because it's just like, you're just like so much better at it. Your facial expressions, all this stuff. We did like a little photo shoot for our website because the last great photo we had of each other was in Jill's backyard holding White Claw. And that wasn't appropriate enough.
And when we went on the Today Show, that's the teaser picture they used.
We were Excellent. Like, I guess that's what we have to send them. So we did a proper photo shoot and the photographer was like, can you make Christin laugh? Like, I'm much more uncomfortable in front of the camera and Jill's like, and I'm just like,
I think we get a lot of confidence in friendship, right? So we both have our strengths and weaknesses, which we both are aware of, but knowing that we have each other and we do it together is like, makes all the difference. Like there are many times where we are, you know, being each other's hype woman and be like, just do that. Who cares what anyone else thinks? Like, you got this. Like, and just knowing that like, it's not that serious and we'll always have our families and friendship. Like that is really what kind of motivates us and helps give us our confidence, right? And
that's a common through line through a lot of the conversations. I've had like over 200 conversations on the podcast with Olympians and professional athletes and Grammy winners and TV stars and entrepreneurs and best-selling authors. And one of the common through lines is this idea of like pressure. And Olympians and pro athletes in particular have this uncanny ability to reframe pressure. They reframe pressure both as like this privilege, this opportunity that they get to do something, they get to entertain people. They kind of change the way they think about it. And then they also have, I don't want to say mastered because nobody, I don't think ever masters anything, but they develop this skill to kind of diminish the importance of what they're doing, right? At the end of the day, like whether it would be nice to win the gold medal or the silver or whatever, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to have people who love me and people who care about me and hopefully go home to a warm, safe home, right? Like it's all about perspective. And I'm curious, like, have you had moments along the way where that confidence has been kind of rattled a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
And what do you do in those moments?
I think exactly to what you said. So something my mom said growing up to me, which I shared with Christin, and it's going to sound really messed up at first, but if you knew my mom and then you know like the meaning behind it, she used to say to us, you're not that important. And again, when you hear that, you're like, why the hell would a mom ever say that? We knew we were very important to her, but if we were stressing about like an outfit to wear in high school or not having the design or whatever, or not being invited to something, her whole meaning was, you're not that important, meaning people are not thinking about what you're wearing, right? You are not the main center in everybody's universe. And I really proceed with that throughout my life. Like if we put out something that maybe we're not feeling confident about or gets a bad reaction, I don't think anybody's going to bed at night thinking like, wow, Christin and Jill are so dumb. Like we're not that important. We're not that important. That is her whole meaning. And it's something that I carry with me throughout my life. Where exactly to your point, like it's not that serious. It's not that important. Not that it doesn't matter to us. Not that our feelings aren't valid, but no one's going to bed at night thinking so much about what we do. And if they are nobody that we want to associate with.
Well, it's a great way of putting it. I mean, and the science and the research behind, I think what your mom has said all these years, I'm racking my brain here, but I believe that some professors have studied this and called this the spotlight effect, that we overestimate the spotlight that we think is on us in any situation. Like at the end of the day, like whether you want to say it's like, you're not that important or it's not that big of a deal or not as many people are watching as you think, like if they don't see it, or it doesn't get good enough engagement, they're going to probably just move on, right?
Right. We are the only people that are going back and being like, how many views did that get? I very rarely, like, unless it's something I'm like interested in following, have gone back to a creator's page, gone to their real page and be like, wow, she must have spent a lot of time on that and only got 1,000 views. Like they, no, you're not that important. You're just not.
And reframing the way we think about that and thinking about ourselves as consumers of content and just regular consumers of Instagram. If I don't relate to it and I'm not liking it, I scroll past it, never think about it again. So it's just, to your point, reframing the way you think about it.
I want to double click into so many things that we're hitting on here.
I told you we're chatty.
Let's look at kind of the working relationship between the two of you. Obviously, like an extraordinary friendship, extraordinary partnership. But there are people listening that may be thinking about, hey, like I'm kind of thinking about starting this thing with a really, really good friend of mine. Like there's got to be advantages, but there also has to be challenges. I'm curious, like you two also have noted that you really complement each other well, which I think is a really important piece of any kind of team, right? The great New York Rangers legend, Mark Messier, said he describes teams as a puzzle. You have some really small pieces, you got really large pieces, you got every piece looks a little different, but to win a Stanley Cup in hockey, you need every single piece. And each of you are bringing different pieces to the puzzle. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious, like when you set out to do this, did you set ground rules kind of on the personal versus the professional? How have you, if there's challenges that have arisen where you guys aren't on the same wave, how have you navigated that? Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah. So we have always said we're moms first, we're friends first. We know our own strengths and weaknesses, and we know each other's intentions, right? So if,
that's the most important.
I think that's the most important part. Like I know at heart Kristen's intention. And again, we don't have a lot of structure to this. A lot of it, which is something like we can dive into after we answer this question. But like we were just talking about before we got on with you, how success is really personal. And we have set this up in a way where it is successful to us because of the way we operate it. But like, I'm trying to say how like we're on the same page, I guess is the point.
All right, everyone. We'll get back to the conversation momentarily. But first, I want to tell you about my free weekly email newsletter, Tarp Pullers. Each week, I share an uplifting and inspirational tarp pulling story that is sure to brighten your day. And I also highlight some of the most powerful ideas I've learned on my journey talking to 200 and counting of the world's top performers. The newsletter is short, concise, and a reader recently told me this. She said it makes her day every time it hits her inbox. Go to everybodypullsthetarp.com/newsletter to sign up today.
You're aligned in how you both define success and what success for my friend's friend looks like. And it's not maybe necessarily what somebody else with a similar or related business would say is, they may or may not say it's successful in their eyes, but it doesn't matter to you because it's successful to the two of you. And the two of you are in alignment on how you view success of this venture.
Yeah. Our intentions for this and what this was supposed to be and will be are the same. So like our working relationship, before our lives got really busy in the beginning of the pandemic, when we were home all the time, we would collaborate every night. We would be talking about things. We had nothing else to do. And then life returned to normal and we had more babies, and that we will still say like, oh, we missed like the collaboration part of it. But not that we're not collaborating.
It's
like,
just, it looks different.
It looks different today than when we originally set it up. Like we used to talk on Sunday nights and be like, okay, these are the things like I want to share this week. And now it's like sometimes a text at like 7 a.m. being like, do you have anything for today? Like I was going to go in and share this stuff. So it's trusting each other, knowing that each other has the best intention, always remembering we're girlfriends first. Like Christin, we both had babies where maybe we were not doing anything MFF related for weeks or months. We always split our commission. We have never made each other feel like, oh, that's all from what I did. Like it's just our expectation and intention is the same. So I think that would be the most important. And when you lead with your intention, like if not that this has ever happened, but like if I'm seem short via text or upset on the phone, like about something. It's rarely ever about something Christin has done. I'm not that important, remember? So it's like, maybe my kid didn't sleep last night and she knows that. Like, it's just understanding each other and knowing your intention, right?
I mean, I think that idea of intention is just a key ingredient in anything we've got to do personally and professionally, right? I mean,
Totally.
You guys clearly did a great job of understanding one another and each other's intention. And again, this is not just about a business for you. It's about building something bigger, influencing, for lack of a better term, and affecting people in a positive way. If there's been any kind of like misalignment, right? Other than just reminding yourself that you're not that important, or this is not, she's not mad at me, or she's not disappointed in me, like you described there. Are there things that the two of you do if you feel like you want to get something back on course? Or is it?
I'm being honest. I can't really think of like something we've ever been so unaligned in.
Yeah. I mean, there's smaller instances where Jill will mention an idea or I'll mention an idea, and like, you can tell the other person's like, I don't know if I like love that. But I think we're both just like, you do you. Like, see if it works. Like, why not? Like, this isn't that serious. And let's just see if it works. And sometimes it's a great idea and the engagement is huge from it. And other times we're like, okay, like people weren't like super interested in that idea. Like maybe we pivot it to this.
But I do think I think being vulnerable, and because we're friends first, we can be vulnerable with each other, is also key to overcoming some of those obstacles. So for example, and I'm just going to give a real-time example, right? We have been repitching the Today Show. We went on this fall to talk about, or this summer to talk about back to school things. Christin is approaching her due date, right? That is not a stress that she needs. If this was a real corporate job, she would have her 12 weeks maternity leave and completely check out. So in talking about that, like, we have to have an honest conversation. Like, what if they do want us on 8 weeks? Is that an opportunity? Like 8 weeks when you're postpartum? Is that something that, we have to have a conversation and say, should we miss that opportunity? Should Jill do it herself? Should we not even pitch it? Like, that's something
I bring my baby on the Today Show.
So that would seem the most MFF thing ever, to just bring the baby.
Vulnerable. I'm just saying, like, hey, like, I don't want you to feel like you have to do this, but I also don't want to miss the opportunity. So I will do it by myself if you're okay with that. If you're really not okay with it, because this is a group project, this is a team thing, then we have to talk about it. And so, like, Christin, I don't think, and I hope, wouldn't be like, wow, Jill's trying to like steal the thunder with MFF and be this Today Show superstar without me. She knows my intention isn't that. So that's why we can have that vulnerable conversation and be like, hey, this is a real situation. What do you really feel?
So well said. I mean, and again, it all comes back to a lot of these same themes we continue to talk about, like this idea of alignment and intention and transparency and authenticity, all these things which the two of you do so well. I'm curious, like, when you think about the shift from your corporate careers to this, what skills have like transferred really, really well? And what areas like have you really had to develop professionally, the two of you?
Yeah, we talk about this often, that at the beginning, because our careers and our jobs specifically were so type A jobs, we kind of entered Instagram and our account with type A ideas and ways of thinking. And our grid had to be perfect. There had to be
content calendar,
consistent filter, a consistent theme. And
we used to like say, like, we can only, let's space out our stories for the day.
Right, every 2 hours.
At 8 a.m. We don't want to overwhelm people. So like, we're going to do this at 8 a.m., this at 10 a.m. It makes me laugh.
And it's just, I can't believe we actually
ever.
And now I see one of you at like coming out of the drive-thru at Dunkin', and you're like posting a story and like letting it rip.
Yeah. Well, because it's just.
Is that a fair, like, am I picturing MFF operations correctly?
100%. Yeah. I mean, of course, there are still things that we're marking for certain days or certain times of day, just
or collaborating with brands.
Right.
Sure.
But most of what we share day to day in our stories is just that. It's what we're really doing at that moment, what has really been shared with us at that moment, and like what we find funny, what we find challenging. And it goes back to that relatability, you know, like we got so much engagement on like the first day of school where I think, was it a story? Jill was like going to drop the kids off and it was like, I'm like so sad. And then it was like, I'm going to go to Target right now and like have the time of my life. And like, that's relatable, you know, like that first day of school feeling of like getting them out of the house and then like freedom.
It was very corporate, very buttoned up. That method did not work for us. And when we were talking about pressure before, it put a lot of pressure on us. Now, if like our kids don't sleep through the night, we're like, I'm not doing anything MFF related today. Like, which is a blessing and a curse, because I think we feel like sometimes we miss on a lot of opportunity because we don't have childcare. Like, this is truly a nap time side hustle. And so we are overwhelmed with opportunity about what that could look like. It wasn't.
But it's also a little bit freeing. Like, we don't post for a day or two. Like, we don't drop $500, you know? Like, it's just, you can't look at that to say like, oh, well, this, because I didn't post, like, we didn't get this sort of engagement and like, we may have lost this many followers. And yes, it's great to have those insights when we need it. But to look at that day to day, like, it doesn't do either of us any good.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I've seen you talk about this on a reel or on a story or elsewhere, but I think you have mentioned that you guys keep like a screenshots folder on your phone where like if you get thank yous from people and like people send you messages about like how helpful what you're doing or what you did was in some decision or some part of their life, you like refer back to it like from time to time to kind of help fuel you. And I'll tell you, I do something similar. When I get messages from people about how a particular podcast episode, or when I speak to a organization, a team or a group, and somebody sends a message after, like I save a lot of those and go back to those when things don't feel like they're maybe going as positive as they should be. Talk about that like, was that something that somebody suggested that you do at the beginning and start collecting those, or was it something that just happened organically?
It kind of happened organically. And it is really nice to refer back to. And we say all the time, we're small but mighty. I don't know if you, on our end of year post this year, we finished the year with 17,000 Instagram followers, right? Which comparatively, like, I would say we're like a micro influencer range. We finished in the top 2% of like to know it earners. So when you look at that comparison, like our followers are very loyal, right? They're very
engaged,
very dedicated. We get messages all the time being like, hey, like you posted something, I can't find it, but I want to make sure I give you guys credit. And like that means so much to us because we say no to a lot of collabs, a lot of paid deals. One, because we don't want that commitment or pressure, but two, because it's things that we don't normally use in our everyday life, or it wasn't a top recommendation. So to like know that people are that dedicated and loyal, it just makes us feel good. And it reminds us like, you know what, we are this cool corner of the internet, of Instagram that people are relating to. And maybe we don't post consistently, and maybe we don't use trending audios and just regurgitate the same audio to make it fun, funny, and go viral. But like, we're authentic, and we want to remind ourselves that that is coming through to people.
And some of the best messages that we get are like from we call them like our OG MFFers that are like, that was a really clever audio that you put on that story. And I'm like, thank you, because I actually spent like 10 minutes looking for like the perfect audio to go with this, scenario.
That's awesome. Because again, I think most people underappreciate what goes into creating anything.
Yeah, I think people think like anyone can do it. And anyone can do it. That's the beauty of social media in 2025. Just start and see what sticks. And anyone can do it, but not everybody does. And I think our approach works for us. Success is really, like we were talking about before, it's
very personal. Yeah.
You know? It's very personal. And for us being moms of young kids, and I want to we're talking about this too before. Like, we want to be transparent that because Instagram is a comparison game. We compare ourselves to other accounts all the time. Why are they growing? Why do they have more? And we have each other to put ourselves in check. But if you don't have someone to put you in check like that, it can be really overwhelming. So we want to be transparent. We are stay-at-home moms. Our husbands provide our primary income, and everything we do here is supplemental. We, again, in the spirit of transparency, maybe we paid for our kids' school that year. We pay for summer camps, our car payments every month, go on a nice vacation in the summer. If we needed this to be more, which we feel like it could be, we would have to invest on the back end, childcare. We would have to say to each other, how many hours can you put in this week?
Right.
Like, that is not how we operate this. So anyone who's listening or watching, like, our situation might not be the same as yours. So you cannot compare yourselves to us.
Right.
And I feel like that's really important to understand, especially for moms, because you see these content creators, you see them making, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars from home. And you're like, how can I not do that? You don't know their situation. Maybe their husband is a trust fund baby and they can just do this and run with it. Maybe they have full-time childcare. Like, you just don't know. So we are successful by our definition. It might not be the same as what success is for someone else.
I think what's so cool in what you guys have built is that you're very clear about what you're trying to accomplish. At this point, that could change, right? You could at any point decide that the goals are going to evolve or whatever. But like that stat you shared about engagement, the loyalty, I mean, to think about the fact that you're in the top 2%, that's like, to me, like what it's all about. Like, we get so wrapped up now in like how many views something gets, or, how many times this YouTube video gets looked at, or how many people saw this ad. Well, how many people acted upon it?
Yeah.
How many people, changed something?
Right. Yeah.
How many, Everybody Pulls the Tarp is not the largest podcast on the face of the earth. But what I do know is that people listen to these conversations and they take action on them. And like that fuels me more than anything, because my mission is to uncover the success secrets of the world's most successful people by a variety of different definitions of success, as we're talking about. For every single conversation I've had, I've applied something to my personal and professional life that has made me just a better person, a better professional. And I can say that about every single conversation. And it gives me so much joy I just kind of put out into the universe like what I think the takeaways from a conversation are. And then the listener can do with it what they think is appropriate. I just find that I'll get messages from people and they'll take away something from a conversation. Somebody will send me a message, or I'll get message about this conversation and they'll say a takeaway. And like, it won't be something that I took away until I go back and listen. I said, you know what? Like, that is interesting there. Like, your definition of success and like what you want to build is a personal decision. And I think something like, it's such an important reminder that you're sharing there. And I think the context that you're giving everybody of like each of your individual situations and your collective situation is so important. I mean, that loyalty though is just remarkable. And it says so much about what you're doing.
We got that email that gave us the statistic and we were like, should we do the math?
And we did.
We were like,
we're also like, we started our careers as buyers in a fashion office for Lord & Taylor.
Which a lot of people don't know, but that's being in Excel all day. Like, it is there's a creative part to it, but like, it's truly running like
retail math, accounting. Right. It's combining a little bit of your creative side with a lot of your analytical side. And so when we got that email, I was like, I feel like this is wrong. And we logged in and like looked at the stats and I was like, oh, I guess, that makes sense. Okay. And it was eye-opening for us too. And I think, the loyalty is there and it feels really good. I do, like MFFers, they ride for us.
They do.
Trust me, like I'd said, it's one of my favorite corners of social media and the internet. And it is, people, I'm telling you, you got to check out what Jill and Christin are doing. So as we get ready to start kind of winding down our conversation, I mean, when you reflect on all this over the past few years, like, is there one thing that's been maybe most surprising to you that like you weren't expecting?
How much work it is.
Yeah.
Like we're one of those people that looked and we're like, anyone can do this. And
anyone can do it, but you need to be committed to putting the time into it. We thought that we were going to be smooth sailing because our friends were doing the work for us, right? They're the ones giving us the great ideas. But to be able to put that into a nice, neat, digestible format for people to consume is challenging. And yes, we put things out there just on a whim, but the more thoughtful things like our gift guides, like we want it to be helpful. Like that is the goal of it. And for it to be helpful, we really need to make sure that we're putting it in a format that is easy for people to view, easy for people to shop.
Yeah. So I think like that was surprising. Just like, okay, like this definitely takes more work than we were expecting.
I think that, I mean, that relates, I think, a lot to many of the conversations I've had. This idea, I mean, most people who I've asked that question to will say that they believe that people underestimate how much work what they do is, right? Let's just go back to that example of an Olympian. Like I would say another one of those like really common things I hear from Olympians is that they wish more people knew how much they failed or how much they fell down. Like we see the gold medal performance. We don't see all the times they didn't want to go to the gym or the rink. We don't see all the times that they were hurt and they battled through. We don't see all the times they fell, that they used a harness to try and simulate what they were trying to do so that they get the muscle memory going, right? Like people see the end result often and they don't know what goes behind the scenes. Remember a country songwriter told me, so he had, at this point when we talked, he had 18 number one hits, Carrie Underwood, Keith, you name it. Like he's written number one songs. He said, Andrew, it took me 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah. No, and we do like, everyone has doubts. Like, I think we look at ourselves 4 years in and we were like, oh my gosh, we thought we would have more followers or we thought we would have a better system, but we don't.
But you know what we thought
part of our success.
But you know what we thought we wouldn't have gotten this far? Like being on the Today Show. Like,
I bet you didn't think that napkin was going to lead you to the Today Show.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it would. But we didn't know how quickly we'd get there. And I know some people would say like, oh, 3.5 years into it. And then you were on the Today Show. But like, that's a minute in this world, right? Like we hustled our way to get there. And like, it was a really monumental experience for us. And we're really proud of it.
Another thing that people will say that's just like nails on a chalkboard for me is when they say, oh, that person is so lucky. Like there are people, albeit no matter how loyal they are, they'll look and say, oh, well, Jill and Christin, look at them on the Today Show. They are so lucky. How did they get that opportunity? It must have fallen into their lap. They are so lucky. They're so gifted. Nobody's lucky and gifted. I say, people are fortunate, right? Some people are in fortunate situations where they can take opportunities and take more risks than others, right? So I think there's a difference between being fortunate and being lucky. But you created that opportunity through a daily kind of relentless pursuit of something that you're passionate about. And I think that often gets lost kind of as we start thinking about the definition of success and these moments that we have in time that people get to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
We have these little boxes to check, and we didn't think that would have been one that we checked so early on.
Yeah.
So then to kind of flip it, I asked you kind of or to pivot it a little bit, I asked you something that surprised you. What's something that you worried about a lot in the early goings that you wish you hadn't spent so many brain cells thinking about?
I think like how we talked about, we come from very type A corporate backgrounds. I wish we kind of just like let it ride. Like I wish we talked more about ideas versus like what to present in our grid and how to present our grid. We talked a little bit about like missed opportunities. I wish we just like let it ride and not worried so much about how it looked. At the same time, you want to, as Christin touched on, you want to present it in a way that's understandable. And people do want to engage with something that's aesthetically pleasing and pretty, whether they want it subconsciously, whether they're aware of it or not, people do that. So I think that I wish we just didn't, one, worry about what anyone thought, right? Like, are people going to think we think we're influencers? And we'll say, we are. Like, I influence you. I've been influencing you since I started at Lord & Taylor. And same with me, with whether it's a restaurant recommendation or what to wear on your date. Like, we've been influencing each other. So we are influencers. And everyone listening to this is too. So I think like, I wish we threw that really out the window and just saw that on this social media space, you don't need to be like so buttoned up.
Now I want you to think into the future. 25 years from now, like there's a newspaper headline and they're doing a story on my friend's friend. Like, what do you want the headline to be?
They still don't own Stanley Cups.
They still don't own Stanley Cups.
We are not giving in. You don't need a Stanley Cup. I don't know. That was like the best. I don't know how they did that, but like, what?
Such good marketing.
It's such good marketing. And like everybody like felt like they needed these cups.
And listen, we fall
good.
We fall for things too, right? We're influenced all the time. But I don't know why Stanley
could never we can't put our finger on why.
Yeah, I don't know.
That one.
Sorry,
like,
Stanley.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry. I mean,
Sorry, Stanley.
Call it.
But no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, take it.
No, I think that's like, because that's our whole thing. We always say, like, you don't need a website to start, just start. We don't own Stanley Cups and we're still influencers. Like, we don't have TikTok and we're still influencers. Like, so I think something along the vein of like
they're still doing it their way.
Yeah. Like at how many years did you say? 40?
20.
25? Okay. So we'll be.
Oh gosh, no, don't do that.
Everybody's still an influencer in their 60s.
I think it's so beautifully said there, both of you. I mean, the idea, it's not about the Stanley Cups. It's about being true to who you are and sometimes adjusting, but oftentimes not giving in.
Yep.
And not caving and being true to who you are. And to your point, I mean, like we can always like just get started, right? Like it doesn't have to be perfect for something to get started. And you don't have to do it the same way that everybody else does for it to be successful. I absolutely love the conversation that we just had. I've had so much fun following you guys. I've had so much fun getting to know you a little bit better here. I just think, I mean, you guys are certified tarp pullers by every stretch of the imagination because you guys lead by example. You're true to who you are. And the whole model of my friend's friend is really predicated around what I call this everybody pulls a tarp mindset. People who are working together, lifting each other up. And if you think about it, this is the way I'll kind of like maybe oversimplify it, but you pull the tarp for your community, the community, your business, and it only works by them pulling the tarp for you. And if either one of those stop, this whole thing falls apart. We're not talking about it in 25 years.
Yeah. We always say, like, if MFF doesn't work, if the followers don't. So, like, when we say thank you, like, it's not just like, thanks for your like.
Yeah.
Thank you for engaging. And thank you. This doesn't work if you don't.
Well, the two of you are awesome. My friend's friend is awesome. This has been so much fun. I hope we get to do a part 2 sometime.
Yes.
Certified tarp pullers, forever a part of the Everybody Pulls the Tarp family. And we'll have to catch up again soon. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me this week. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so you can catch all of our upcoming episodes. And if you are like me and want a world full of tarp pullers, then leave a review to help others find us. You can also follow me on Instagram at AndrewMoses123 and sign up for my email newsletter at everybodypullsthetarp.com/newsletter. I'll share tips and insights to help you achieve maximum success and happiness. Until next time, keep pulling the tarp.